Hi, my name is Tiffany. Welcome or welcome back. I typically do videos surrounding books, sometimes lifestyle, but today is my May recap, which I know it's like middle of June, but I had vacations at the end of May and the beginning of June, so it's just kind of, it is what it is. So today I'll be going over the books that I've read in May and kind of lifestyle bits of my habit tracker, and then also a little bit about what I want to be able to read in, I guess, the rest of June. So the planner that I use is the Shop ARL planner, and this is a doodle planner. So you're able to color in the pages. Typically, I always do like the coloring bit in the video, but let me show you. So for like the weekly spread, there just really wasn't much to color because I felt like the icing just needed to be white. So there really was not much to color, so it would have been definitely boring. But I guess first we will go over kind of what I wanted to do in May, and then we'll get into the May books, and then we'll get into June. So for May, personally, all I wanted to do was be outside more. And I did have like a habit tracker of spending time outside, which it looks like about half the time I did actively spend outside. Now there was a lot of rain in Ohio, and then also I went to Miami in the beginning of June, which I guess that doesn't count because we're talking about May. But in May there was a lot of rain, but I would say about half of that I did spend outside. And then for my mood tracker, basically the whole month of May was either a smiley or above, so that's kind of what the mood tracker looks like. And then as far as books go, I read 10 books and the average was 3.65 stars. So this is kind of my like little layout for books. Also don't know, oh yeah, you can see that. So I read 10 books, so I'll go through all of the books that I read and like a little bit of how I felt about it, little mini description. Obviously, if you wanted to look more into the books, you can do that. I'm not going to read the whole like synopsis or anything like that. But the first book that I read for the month was Enchantra, and it's the second, I think it's Wicked Games. Yeah, it's the second in the Wicked Games series. So this is by Kaylee Smith, and it goes, or it revolves around Genevieve and Rowan. Phantasma is the first book, and Genevieve is the sister of the main female character from the first book. And basically she goes to Enchantra, which is like this home mansion type of thing. And you have to play like this deadly game. Deadly. I just found this one a little bit boring, to be honest. I loved Phantasma. I gave that one a 5-star. Enchantra I gave a 3-star. There just wasn't much to it. There was not a lot of like high stakes or anything like that. So that's why I gave it a 3-star. When the third one comes out, I'll definitely read it because I feel like I'll like the series overall, but I just did not vibe with that one. And then the second book that I read was The Wrong Game by Candy Steiner, which I gave this one a 3.5 star. I feel like maybe I've read 1 or 2 other Candy Steiner books, but I follow her on Instagram and she's just really funny. So obviously I'm going to read more of her books. But this one follows Gemma and Zach. So Gemma is recently widowed. You find out kind of at the beginning of the book what happened and why she's ready to kind of start dating again. And then Zach is a bartender that overhears a conversation between Gemma and her best friend about the season football tickets that Gemma has, and basically doing like how like a not a slow burn, but like a toe in the tip of the water type of situation for dating, where she plans to take a new guy every day or every game, so that way she's not like committed to doing anything, and she's not committed to one person. And Zach volunteers to be her first date as like a practice round, and it's just really cute overall, so I really enjoyed that one. The next book that I read in May was The X-Files. I gave this one a 4-star. This one's about Georgia and Eli, and it is a second chance romance. They have to come together for this weekend because their best friend is getting married, and they're both like a best in the wedding. And just a bunch of things go wrong, and they have to work together to figure it out. It's really, really cute. And the ending was, it was just really adorable. So I definitely recommend that book. Next is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, which I gave a 3-star. This one is marketed as a romance, but I think I would not put it under the romance category. I would put it under a mystery category. So this one is about Alice and Hayden. Both of them are writers. Alice found a woman named Margaret Ives, who back in the day was in the tabloids. A bunch of things happened and she's kind of off the grid now. And so Alice finds her, and basically Margaret does like a month test run basically between Alice and Hayden to figure out who she wants to write a book about her life. So you go through this month of trying to figure out like what Margaret's life was about. There was a little romance, like 0 to 5,000, but I would not market it as a romance. I would put it under the mystery category. So I gave it a 3. It's well written, but it was not what I expected. Next is What Have You Done by Sherry Lapina, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. This one I gave a 3.5 star. This one, at the beginning, you find out that Diana, a high school student, is found dead in a field, and you kind of go through the book as trying to figure out like what happened to her. You also get the POV of her as a ghost while she's also simultaneously trying to figure out what happened to her because she does not remember. So she's like kind of going between like the police station, her house, school, I think she's there, and just trying to figure out what happened to her, which I don't think I've ever read a book where you get like the POV of the dead person. So that one was really cool. I think I did figure out who did it early on, so that's kind of why I was like 3.5. Because if I figure it out, like everybody's gonna figure it out, because I'm pretty oblivious when it comes to books, plot holes, anything like that. Next, I read Whispers of You by Catherine Cowles. This one I gave a 5-star. I love this one. I'm definitely going to read the rest of the book in the series. This one follows Holt and Wren. This is also a second chance romance. They were high school sweethearts, but there was a big trauma when they were in high school that I honestly think would have torn a lot of couples up, to be honest. But it's been a very long time since they've talked because Holt needs to come back because his dad's health is declining, and Wren still lives in the same town where all of this had happened. I love this so much. You should definitely read it. Next was The Mother-in-Law. This one was by Sally Hepworth, which I'm definitely going to be reading more of her books. This one follows, what is her name? This one follows Lucy when at the beginning of the book her mother-in-law is found dead, and it's basically like a whodunit situation, and you go through all of the family drama, like who would want to potentially hurt the mom or the mother-in-law, because it's mostly obviously with Lucy's in-laws, all of like the sister-in-law, brother-in-law, her husband, trying to figure out all what happened to her mother-in-law. This one was good. I did not catch the ending, so that one, I listened to this one on audio, so I definitely recommend this one. Next, I read Stay Awake by Megan Golden. This one starts off with Liv Reese waking up and not remembering what happened at all. She has no memory except for like, I think it was 2 years ago, of like answering a phone call at her work desk. And she does not remember anything that happened the night before. Come to find out, she is on like a video snippet of her leaving the scene of a crime, which was a murder, and just kind of what, it was wild. So I gave this one a 4-star if I didn't say already. It was really good. I also listened to this one on audio, I believe. The next book that I read was The Last House Guest by Megan Miranda. This follows Avery after her best friend Sadie has passed away. I think it's been a year when the book picks up. And Avery has always thought that Sadie didn't herself, but she always thought somebody hurt her. And it just kind of goes back and forth between present and past of what really happened to Sadie. And this one was also kind of the ending. I don't know if I expected it or not, but I also thought this book was just a tad, there could have been less words. Let's just say that. There could have been less words. But it was still a good book. I listened to this one on audio as well. The next book that I read for the month and the last book was Twisted Games by Anna Wong. I think maybe a year and a half ago I read the first book, and that one I didn't care for. But this one was available on Libby and I just needed a new audiobook, so I was like, let's give it a chance. This one I gave a 3.5 stars, so I definitely liked it more than the first. This one was about Bridget and Reese. Bridget is a princess and Reese is her new bodyguard. At the beginning of the book, her previous bodyguard had to go out for, I think maybe he was having a child or something. I don't remember. But basically Reese is now her new bodyguard and she needs to go back to her home country. And that's where I'm going to leave it because the description online doesn't really dive into what happens and I don't want to give any spoilers away. But basically it's forbidden. It's great. He's pretty grouchy, which I don't hate. So those were all of the books that I read for May. Now let's talk about June. So for June, basically the only thing I want to do like personally is relax and spend time at the pool. So I think that's a good goal for June. I really only have 3 goals for June, which is being outside, going on walks, and then tracking my macros again. And then obviously my mood tracker. Now, as far as books go, it's already the middle of June. So I don't think I'm going to do like a TBR or anything for June, but I'm hoping for July, I'll be able to do an unhauling video of like a bunch of my books back here that either I don't plan on reading or I've read and they're just not my favorite and I don't want to keep them on my bookshelf. And then also I need to like, where's my finger? Reorganize my bookshelf because it needs a little cleanup. So that's kind of, hopefully I'll be able to do that in July and then make like a little TBR jar with all of the books that are on my physical TBR so I can kind of get through those before I purchase any more books. I know like I have like a smaller collection compared to others online, but I just get overwhelmed when I have too many physical books because there's so many books that are coming out that I just need to break on the new releases and really just read through all of my physical books. So that way, I also want to do like a month where I only read from the library. Like I go to the library at the beginning of the month and I choose all of my books that I want to read for the month there, and then anything that comes through Libby. I think that would be a really fun challenge. But first I really need to get through my physical TBR. So that is kind of everything for my recap for May and kind of what I'm doing for June. Not really much that I can explain because June's halfway over anyway. But hopefully July we'll be able to have like a little, at least pull some books from my TBR jar. Also, if you want to follow me on TikTok or Instagram, my information is down below. I try to post every day on Instagram at least and a couple times a week through TikTok, just any books that I'm like reading, any progress videos, and then more lifey stuff on, well, kind of both. So if you want to follow me there, all of the links will be down below. But other than that, I think the next video will definitely be an unhauling video of my books if you want to check that out. But I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!